Hey everyone, Livy here, back with another video, back under my Christmas tree because I'm filming at night and this is literally the only place I have to film. Today's video, I have to say, is going to be a little different. You might be able to tell by whatever I decide to title this video, but this is an end of year reflection video on all things like tarot, and I have a lot of interesting thoughts. This was an interesting year, okay? And there's a lot to cover before we do the final bit, which will be my I guess beginning of year reading. So let me try to get into it. By the way, I'm holding the mini Monsoon Tarot. I do have the full size, but because I'm filming under my Christmas tree and I'm gonna have to like lay cards out, I thought this mini deck might be best. But anyways, let's start by talking about tarot for this year. So everybody might know. If you don't, now you're gonna know. Technically, everyone's whole year card of the year was the Chariot. If you add up 2023 together, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3, you get 7, which was the Chariot. Interestingly enough, the Chariot was the only tarot card that I personally did not draw at all this whole entire year. You know how the fuck I know that? Because I literally counted every card I drew. And I'm only able to do that, by the way, of course, because I record all my readings and put them in my tarot journal. I literally went from the beginning of this year, right? Beginning of this year basically was like here-ish. Yeah, around here. I went from the beginning of the year all the way to the end, and not once this whole entire year did I draw the Chariot card. I kind of find that really fucking fascinating, guys. Yeah, I did not draw the Chariot once, not once, the whole entire year, and that was the only card that I did not draw at all, at least once this whole entire year. I could not believe. I was like, oh man, I was having some thoughts. It was a lot. It was interesting, okay? But here's the thing, okay? Just because everybody technically has like a card of the year, it's kind of like really vague to say that's everybody's card of the year, right? Because as you can see, I didn't draw the Chariot fucking once. I didn't have any issues where I felt like I was being tugged by the Chariot. So the question becomes then, what's more important? And to me personally, it's your own, I'm pointing at the camera, your own birth card is more important. And if you don't know what that is, basically everybody, if you calculate your numbers, it comes out to a particular number, okay? And when it does, you have particular cards. I have a book that explains all that. I've talked about it in other videos. If you're interested in what I'm talking about, definitely look into Mary K. Greer for birth card stuff. But I'm not getting into everybody's. I'm going to do mine. So this year, my personal year card was actually Death. Yeah. I was not thrilled by this. Because I know all my, every card I've ever gotten for every year of my whole life, right? I calculated, or I did the math. I was looking back at the numbers, and I noticed that every time I had a death year in my life, because I've had actually many, like not everybody, so everyone's, based on your numbers, everybody has different life paths and different numbers that will pop up frequently for you. I've had a lot of death in my particular path, and every time I've had a death year, not gonna lie, it's always been some fucked up shit. I don't always understand how I'm supposed to be coming out like stronger and reborn through it. But this year was a death year, and I don't know if I'm necessarily at the transformation stage of death, but boy, did I feel as if I was dying some parts of this year. It was rough. I did not have a great time. It's more, well, actually, I had some periods that were actually okay, but which was like, I guess, a chunk of the summer, fine, okay, good. Some of the holidays, okay, fine. But I had a lot of health issues, a lot of mental health issues, a lot of work bullshit, especially in the beginning of the school year, or the beginning of this year, I should say. So, yeah, that was not fun, guys. It was not fun. But thank God I am moving away from the death year, and I am actually moving into temperance. And I don't know why, but I'm kind of excited about this. I think it's because this might actually be. Oh, I wish I had brought the book with me, but I'm not going to go into my room to get to it. But don't quote me forever. But this might be my first temperance year. I don't think I've had one yet, or maybe I have, but it's been a while since I've had a temperance year apparently. But this might be one of my few. I know I haven't had a lot of them. And I'm kind of excited. Even though temperance is all about balance, right? It's about trying to mind your own business so you're not like this kitty who tangled up the strings of fate, right? You have to balance out your energy. And so that's definitely just going to be a time where I'm going to need to be very, very mindful, because I just don't want things to go out of whack, right? Especially because I know that while I'm going into a temperance year, I already know that 2025, for instance, is going to be a devil year for me. So, yeah. I just got to try to balance out things as much as I can right fucking now. So, death and temperance, that's what I had. But more interestingly than that, I'm just going to shuffle them up a little bit as I talk. More than that, I actually want to talk about something I also examined last year, but I don't remember how many people go through. To be honest, I don't know how many of you even fucking go through my backlogs. Let's be honest here. But at the beginning of this year, I talked about my stalker cards that I noticed I had last year in 2022. And guess what? I tracked my stalker cards this year, and I had some interesting results. So I also want to talk about those. That's why I was mainly keeping track of all of this. And yeah, I had no chariot at all the whole entire year. I was shocked, like I said. But through all this calculating, I discovered that I had quite a few stalker cards. Now, I'm considering for this video, a stalker card for me is a card that had to pop up a lot of times within a short period of time, and or the cards that I ended up pulling the most this year and therefore were stalking me in some way, shape, or form, okay? And I had some interesting themes this year compared to last year. Like last year, I remember I kept getting the 8 of Cups a lot, the 5 of Cups, the 4 of Cups, a lot of emotions, because I was dealing with a lot of fucking emotions. But this year, I had some interesting different ones. I want to first talk about my 2, what I call my temporary stalkers. Like, they weren't stalking me the whole entire time. It was just mainly for a short period of time. Mainly, one of my first stalker cards I had this year was the 2 of Swords. In this deck, in the Monsoon, they call it by elements, so this is the 2 of Air. This card, particularly, was following me a lot in the beginning of the year. And this actually makes sense for me as a stalker card, right? A card that I kept, getting a lot. This makes sense because I was having a lot of work conflicts in the beginning of the year. And it was a lot of feeling like you're in a stalemate, and no matter what choice you make, you're not sure if it's going to be the right one or the wrong one. And I was dealing with a lot of that in the beginning of my year. So this tracks. This makes sense. I was very indecisive and not sure what to do about my work. And yeah, so unfortunately, I was seeing this card a lot. But interestingly enough, too, I was also getting this card a lot, especially more in the beginning of the year. This is the King of, well, it says King of Earth, but this is, the King of Pentacles. I was also, at the same time that around when I'm getting this, I'm also getting this. And what I find interesting about getting the King of Pentacles a lot that time of year also is because I was so indecisive about shit going on at my work, I had to bite my tongue a lot and I basically had to be the better person a lot at work, which was really kind of fucked up when I think about it now, because I deserved better and so many of us at my work deserved better and we did not get that. But I had to be the master and in control of myself and everything that was going on at my work. And yeah, it was very frustrating. But these were not the cards I drew the most. They were, like I said, temporary stalkers. They only got me during very specific times of the year. But my real stalker cards, for this, I'm considering it anything that I got 10 times or more. I consider them the most stalking me, okay? And in the biggest place, interestingly enough to me, the card I got the most this year was the Five of Wands. And I find that really, really fascinating because, how do I explain this? I don't feel like I was getting this a lot, but at the same time, apparently I was. So the way I see the Five of Fires it's called, or the Five of Wands, typical tarot, is that this is a card not necessarily about you. This is more about external forces around you, people that are fighting. In this case, in the Monsoon Tarot, it's just silly. It's like a little, it's a little pillow fight and ha ha ha, and everything's going to be fine after the pillow fight, right? Like, they're just like goofing around. But for some people, right, like the one who got their face smashed in, you can see that part of them is like slopping away when they got smacked. So they might have been more harmed. And, but you don't know who is who and what is what in this situation. I find it interesting that I got the Five of Wands because every time I looked at when this card popped up, it was never about me. It was more about people around me and like things that they were dealing with, or I felt like I might have been in the middle of it, but nobody was directing their anger at me or like fighting with me. It was like other people fighting around me, and I was kind of like the mediator who had to figure out how to diffuse the situations. And so I found that really interesting. Just, yeah, that was happening a lot. And I tried to think of like when specifically, but I feel like this was definitely happening a lot at work. And yeah, I think it was mainly work, but it might have been sometimes in the summer too. I can't remember. I'd have to look back. But yeah, interesting that I was one of my stalkers this year. That was the card I got the most. Other cards that I got a lot this year, which I found really interesting, were the Six of Wands, like the Six of Fire. I thought that was really funny when I realized that was one of my stalkers this year. Because, you know, everyone always thinks of the Six of Wands as being this victory, right? And it's usually seen as this kind of big victory, except, you know, the number six is not even, it's like still far away from 10 in some ways, at least 4 away from 10. So it's not actually the end. So in this case, this was a card that popped up a lot, but it was only when I had small victories, right? Like when something finally was going my way a little bit, that's when this card was popping up and or suggesting that was what was happening. So I found that interesting, but I kind of wished it was at least one bigger victory, but it really wasn't. It was just like small bursts here and there. And interestingly, I was also getting the Page of Swords a lot this year. This also, though, makes sense, kind of in line with that King of Pentacles, is that I especially got this card more towards the second half of the year, but this was mainly, again, related to work. Instead of having to be the master of a specific domain, I didn't have to be as much because guess what? I switched roles at my job, so I've been doing something a little different. And because of that, I need more of this page energy because instead of having to prove I am, quote, quote, the boss, what I'm doing requires a lot of me to basically, if you guys seen my videos about my court cards, the Page of Swords for me is the wit, right? Like the clever. I've had to use my brain a lot to get through work because you never know. If I don't make the right choice on a given day, something might go wrong, especially with the students or student I deal with in particular now. So this tracks. This makes a lot of freaking sense why I kept getting this card. So yeah, having to channel this energy a lot at my work. Interestingly, I also got these two the same amount of times. This is the Six of Cups, of course, and the Knight of Wands. I was very glad to see that I was getting this card a lot, but it's kind of unfortunate because I mainly got this card at the beginning of the year when I was doing the most writing that I was, doing this year. And this really became my patron saint of writing. Every time I saw this card pop up, I knew, okay, it's time to write. I need to focus. I need to be inspired. I need to go, go, go. It's time. It's telling me this is perfect. I'm ready. So I knew when I saw this card, that's what. But it was really stalking me, like really, really stalking me for a very strong period of time. And so I went with it and just did the thing. Unfortunately, I have not been writing as much lately. But yeah, that's what I knew this card was all about. But interestingly, I was also getting this card a lot. And this... At first, I thought it was kind of weird that this card was popping up a lot, but then it started to make sense to me because, so people usually know the Six of Cups, right, is a nostalgia card. And this kind of makes sense because this was definitely a year in which I was reflecting a lot on times come to pass, who I used to be, but also the things I used to love and wished I could go back to. But unfortunately, I just kept putting it off this year, and that's kind of fucked up. But I had many days where I was just sitting and thinking about, like, man, I want to do XYZ thing, or man, I want to reread this book. And I just didn't do it. And that's kind of a shame. But this card was trying to tell me, right? Like, maybe you actually need to do the thing. Like, why are you avoiding it? And yeah, so it was stalking me. And then... Unfortunately for me, in the second half of the year, I started to notice that this card was stalking me. Guys, of course, this is the Three of Swords. Again, typically known as the heartbreak card, but to be honest, I always see this card more as the drama card. This is when this pops up, shit's about to go down. Someone's about to end up crying, and most likely it's going to be you, right? It's not necessarily like someone's breaking your heart in half. It's just like a lot of mental and emotional anguish all kind of tied into one. And this makes sense that this card was stalking me, because when I was getting this card the most, I was literally in pain. Like, my body was not doing good things, right? Like, I was getting sick and going through a lot of bullshit. And unfortunately, because of that, this card was stalking me. So that's that of that. But it's interesting to look back on these. And I do, if you are someone who does keep track of your tarot cards, your tarot readings, and such like that, I do highly recommend you check your stalker cards, because they are going to tell you your big themes of the year. And also just like reminding you of specific things, you know. But with that said, now that I know what I'm going towards, I know I'm going to a temperance year. I'm leaving a death year. I had very specific stalker cards. It is time to do a little bit of a year ahead reading, but not your typical year ahead, because, so if you guys don't know, I only do 6 months ahead reading. I never do 12 months. I don't do birth, like a whole big birth thing. Like, I don't. Okay? I only like doing 6 months ahead of time because I get anxiety. I don't like looking that far ahead. So, with that in mind, I still wanted to plan in some way for the year to come. So I decided to make my own spread this year. And it is this. I don't know if you guys can see it very well. I'll leave it on the screen for a while for those of you who would maybe like to do this spread, if you like my results and otherwise. But I am calling this spread the New Year, New You spread. And this is giving me a brief overview of things, very succinct and to the point, because I don't want to create unnecessary anxiety. I even already know what my January card is. So this snapshot, January snapshot, is really just supposed to be another layer to that month. Since I've already done my 6 months ahead reading, I know what card this is. It'd be funny if this card pops up in that place. I'd be really curious to see if that happens, but we'll see. So number 1 in this position is going to be me right now, how my year went, like, I guess another general thing. The snapshot for January, based on this snapshot, what I should aim for, based on the snapshot, what could derail me, that's number 5. And 6 is the goal for the coming year, keeping in mind these 3. Okay? So, New Year, New You. How I'm going to do this is, I have a very convoluted shuffle method. I'm going to pause this video, do that shuffle, and come back to you guys when I have the cards faced upside down, because, yeah, I don't want to waste your goddamn time. My shuffle method's really long. I've talked about that, and I've had a video on that, but, yeah, I'll be right back in just a bit. Okay, everyone, we're back. I kept them upside down just to make things, not upside down, but you know what I mean. I have them the other way just so we could slowly get what these cards are. But this is my New Year, New You spread. Me right now, or you, I guess, if you're the one doing it. Number 1. Let's see. How do I feel right now? Am I going to be called out? Oh, interesting. Okay. This is actually really interesting. So, spoiler alert for you guys, since you don't know, you might not know, my 6 month ahead spread. This is my card for January. This is one I've already done. This is the Ace of Earth. That's actually really interesting. I wonder if it's like this because I've already been starting to think of like, how can I change and grow in this coming year? Like the potential of everything. So maybe I'm hopeful right now. I'm seeing it as that potential output. I want to figure out how I can start working properly again. So this is really fascinating that is me right now. I guess I'm hopeful. But then it's interesting, like, what am I crossed by? Oh, how my year went. Interesting. So, overall, it is saying that my year was the 6 of Earth. And that's kind of interesting, actually, because I feel like there was a lot of me that I had to give to others. But then there's parts of me that feel like I could have given more. But I feel like what's really interesting about the Monsoon Tarot too is that you can see the story that's being depicted here. This little mouse is kind of being sneaky. He has like, hee. They're giving this wizard a dirty button. And in exchange, this wizard is being kind and giving the mouse a cheese. So they basically got the better end of the bargain. And this mouse is just kind of cheating the wizard a little bit. And I find that interesting because that is a lot of how my year went. Like, I feel like I gave a lot of my time and energy, especially at work. And I kind of got weird shit gifts in return. Like, I don't know. That actually kind of makes a lot of sense in this context. Really fascinating. Really fascinating. A lot to think about already. But 3 here is my January snapshot. Oh, okay. Queen of Swords. Oh, interesting. Okay. I see this as definitely a sign of maybe this is a lot of energy I'm going to have to channel, especially in the beginning of the year. And I do find that interesting because I don't like being the Queen of Swords very much. And you guys are going to understand a little bit why when I eventually film my Queen's video. It is coming. I swear to God. It's just a lot of things have gone in the way, so I haven't been able to film that one. But this is really interesting. I'm going to take it as probably needing to channel more of this energy and or unintentionally channeling this energy even if I don't want to. It could be either one. You never fucking know until it happens, right? But that is really, really interesting that card popped up as the snapshot. I guess based on that, let's see what I need to aim for here. Ha! Wow, guys. It's the High Priestess. That's really, really interesting. I feel like I see this as, in this case, based on kind of like that queen, based on that queen, maybe there is a sense of needing to be kind of, well, because you know the Queen of Swords sometimes can be a little aloof. Maybe it is being like that mysterious, aloof energy, trusting my own intuition, and maybe that's why I need to be more like the Queen. It can be a really interesting thing there, but that is a really interesting sign. But what could potentially derail me then? Oh, fuck. Well, that's not. That's That's not good, guys. And especially in this card, this is like fucked up and really brutal of a version of the Five of Air. Ooh. Well, that's dramatic, isn't it? Yeah. Where do you even begin? Where do you even begin? Five of Air. So, what could potentially derail me? I guess that would be. Oh man, that means it's something. I hope that's not a sign that something bad is going to happen. But I mean, it could not be. It doesn't have to necessarily be like doom and gloom, but it could just be like this card, especially, even though this one's depicting like a very sad scene here. This card usually is like the Pyrrhic victory. It's like no one necessarily wins here, whatever the winning situation was supposed to be. So, oof, that hits you right in the frickin' throat. I don't know. Oh man, I don't know where we can go from here. That's not good though. I need to keep that in mind. Keep me in your thoughts, guys. I don't know what that is. I don't know what's up with that, but I guess based on that, what is my goal for the coming year? What do I need to watch out for? What do I need to watch out for? Like, what is my goal? What should I be doing? Oh my god! No way! Bitch, I was just you guys, I was just talking about this card. Oh shit, I know exactly what this is. I know exactly what it's telling me to do. And you know what? I agree with you. I do need to be writing more. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. What the hell? Okay. I need to go. I need to be this night. I need to get shit done. I guess I can't let whatever that could be derail me. Wow. That's a lot. That's something. This is, I don't know. Do people do not, I notice not a lot of people like to do their live readings because they're like afraid. In some ways, I feel like what are they gonna get? Is it this dramatic as this Five of Air? Oh my god. Yeah, I know exactly what this is telling me to do. Wow. Okay. This was an interesting, very interesting spread. I'm a little worried about this, but this is really interesting. Okay. I like this though. I actually do. And with that, where do I go except I've been told. I've been told what to do. And I can only just hope for the best, and I need to remember to channel this energy. Wow, okay. If you were watching this long, thank you for watching. I hope you were just as surprised as I was. I don't know. This was really fascinating. Again, I made this spread up on the fly, but it actually gave me some really interesting insights. And my cat is crying, so that's a sign also that I need to go. So I hope you all have a very wonderful new year to come, and I will see you next time. Bye.